Cheers.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another MoGraph MoCast. I'm Matt, and joining me this week is our good friend, the super talented, from the XR Motion podcast and XR Motion meetup, Mr. Michael Steinberg. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. So excited to be on.
I'm excited to have you on. It's going to be a good show. Everyone here, both of us okay? You know, I realized as I was hitting the button for the opening graphics, I forgot to put in my headphones. And so just making sure that I'm using the correct microphone, which it's OBS, it's not Skype or Discord, so I think we're okay. But yeah, super excited to have you here and talk some shop and do some things. But first up, I would like to thank our sponsor, Otoy. Thank you, Otoy. Thanks to our universal sponsor, Otoy. They're the makers of Octane Render and the Render Network. With Octane Render, you can create super photorealistic renders incredibly fast. And for those renders, you need the extra little push of power. Render Network has you covered. Render Network allows you to render your Octane and Redshift frames in a fraction of the time and a fraction of the cost of other cloud rendering services. The Render Network is also offering render grants. Are you needing some extra cloud rendering for a personal project you're working on? Apply for a Render Network render grant. They're giving away over $50,000 in render credits every month. Check it out at renderfoundation.com/grants. Make sure to go to Otoy and thank them for helping to make our show and website and everything we are doing possible, because it would not be possible without the love from Otoy. That's why we are powered by Render Network.
Octane.
Yeah, right. So, a lot of, man, like, I feel like it's crazy the amount of stuff that has happened in our industry in the past week. It is not fun. It's not great. We're don't worry. All right, but going into that, let's start with our first headline. And Michael, I'd love to know what you think about this. Our first headline. Oh, yeah. Okay, we got to do the animation first, right? The Mill. That's the big news. And you know, I was surprised that School of Motion didn't put this on their Monday thing, but Technicolor, the company that owns The Mill and MPC and a couple other companies, are shutting down officially after over like 100 years of Technicolor. They're having to shut down, which is extremely sad. And a lot of friends that I have known worked at The Mill over the years and stuff like that. And I don't know, it seemed like at first they weren't 100% sure if they were going to shut down or what was going on. And then all of a sudden came, who was the group? Boy, there's been so much change with this Mill news. It's like they put out this letter, they sent off a letter to everyone saying, you know, we've been facing severe financial challenges. And then they put out another one saying, we're experiencing difficulties and we're probably going to lay everyone off. And then apparently they laid everyone off in the UK. And then apparently the company Dream Machine is now taking over every employee at the mill or something. I don't know.
Well, that's good.
I don't know if that's like actually the case or something, or whether they're just like, hey, we're just going to hire everyone. But it's like, what's crazy to me is like, okay, so where did it go wrong? You know? So like, where did it go wrong? Is it because of our industry? Is it like industry trends and stuff like that? Are, you know, because I have found a significant shortage in work. It's January, February, like literally I've only had one job. Someone please send me some work. But it's like, It's like I've seen definitely a downturn in the amount of work that's coming in, but that could also be for just me as a freelancer versus I'm really close with Barton over ABC. He says they're bringing in a lot of like really good work and a lot of stuff. They're pretty busy. So it's like, okay, is that just for the freelancer or is that the studio? Or did they just, were their britches just too big? Was their overhead way too high? Or is it that, these big companies now don't have the budgets, and so like the mill, because of their large overhead, requires a budget of millions of dollars in order to create things that some of these smaller companies can produce for just 6 figures or 5 figures even,
Right.
I don't know. What are your thoughts, Michael?
I mean, to be honest, I think it's just, first of all, super sad that happened.
Yes, indeed.
I mainly was feeling for the artist, but I hope that they all are getting acquired by another company. That would help a lot of the emotional feelings on that. But yeah, I mean, I did hear, I mean, this is just such rumors, but like,
we're okay with rumors. I like rumors. We can make all the shit up we want.
It's tea time on the MoGraph podcast. Yeah. I mean, I heard.
I love that. It's tea time. Pinky's out.
So I heard.
All right, go ahead.
I don't know how accurate this is, but maybe somebody was being dramatic. But I heard that they were almost like $5 billion in debt somehow. I didn't even know it's possible to get $5 billion. Like, is that even possible? But I've heard maybe that was just an over-exaggerated number, but debt was massive. And the other thing I heard was, again, rumor. I haven't really known. Maybe you could elaborate on this more.
Yeah.
But is that they would really bid like on projects, and so they were like a consistent underbidder, and so they were really running artists hard and really not,
I have heard that, like basically running artists into the ground, and just like they're called the mill for a reason because they just grind up artists left and right. That's not to say they don't produce good work.
Thing they're done.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you can learn a lot working for a place like that. 523 million annual revenue, though. It's like, okay, 5 billion in debt, but like, oh boy.
I mean, and maybe somebody put a B instead of an M or something.
Yeah,
right. But yeah, it's and so what's up, Andrew, co-host. Just gonna say, definitely a life goal to be on here.
I don't know about that.
Hey, 6 years in listening, man. I'm happy to be
here. I
appreciate
you. I appreciate those 6 years of listening. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm back at. I'm a little later. I'm gonna put some hot air in your head for you. I'm gonna gloat you up. So, but no, underbidding. I feel like that's been a big thing that studios have been doing, and maybe that'll be kind of a lesson learned for a lot of studios going on, and maybe a lot of places will learn from it. And I'm just trying to be optimistic here, but maybe that'll be more of an incentive for people not to be pushing that route as much anymore.
Sure. And that was, so one of the first post-production houses that I worked at, like I got the job right as I entered college, and it was a little mom and pop shop. It was similar to like a Kinko's or FedEx office for you young kids, who don't remember what a Kinko's was. But it was basically like the Kinko's of video. You could come in off the street. You could, you want to get something transferred, VHS copy. Sure. You want to get it transferred to DVD. You could do that too, But I did find that when the owner would be bidding on jobs, he would continually be underbidding in order to try and bring in the work, because he would say, let's bring in the work. We'll show them, we'll do the work, and then they'll bring us more. And it's like, okay. But also, when you're underbidding, you have to have that quality because once it then comes to like raising your rates and being like, okay, this one was only $800, now I need to charge you 16. They see the value in it because the quality was, just exponentially more than what they were expecting to get for $800. And they will see the value in it. Otherwise, they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to be like, okay, I paid $800 and that's what I got out of it, But yeah, so in other news along the similar vein, it was literally just announced like maybe a few hours ago. Montreal, studio in Montreal on Animation Studios, who did they did The Little Prince on Netflix and The Miraculous. I'm not sure if you know Ladybug and Cat Noir. You don't have kids, so anyway, and you're not French, so but.
Not
they
old
did
enough to watch
a bunch of these movies and stuff like that, and they're shutting down too. So it's like it brings up that question is like, okay, is this the end of the big studios? Like or is everything like? And I would think. I personally thought the Canadian jobs were pretty safe because, so much outsourcing from Hollywood and stuff like that was going up to Canada, to like Vancouver and Montreal and Toronto and stuff like that, and not being produced in the US. But it's like you've got some of these companies shutting down as well. Is that an indication of the industry as a whole, or is it an indication of like the studios just got too bloated,
Yeah. No, it is interesting. I also feel and it's been a trend over the past maybe 5-10 years, but I feel like a lot of places are going in-house more and more. Netflix is doing things in-house. Disney, they're building a massive studio in New York City, whenever that'll be finished.
Are they really? Interesting.
Yeah. It's like 3 blocks long or something crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
They just chopped down a bunch of Central Park and put up a Disney store there, right?
Exactly. Nobody needs a park here. Nature, what's that? Yeah, it's. So I think that's going to be like a continuing trend, is that places just keep going more and more in-house. Just for value-wise, and kind of, like you said, the smaller studios definitely are able to put out such good quality work nowadays, So
yeah. I mean, the thing is, the small studios are just hiring all the same people who worked at the Mill or worked at Buck or worked at some of these higher studios. It's the same people. Yeah, it's just people. It's yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm a little worried for our industry. Especially me, for example, having not had a paid gig in 6 weeks, it becomes difficult, and you start to see it. And like, I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is trash, by the way. I would just like to say, and I'm going to post this clip. Nick, you're editing the videos right now. I want you to clip this out, and I'm going to post this on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is trash. I want all my followers to know that. All my connections, all 1,000 of them, LinkedIn is trash.
I hope it goes viral, and then you get like 20 jobs from LinkedIn.
But honestly, it is. It's like even it's oversaturated with recruiters, and it's like, if you're willing to get a job, if you're trying to do everything you can in order to get a job, you want as much open interaction as possible, and then that opens you up to like spam messages through LinkedIn Mail, and then really the only callbacks I've gotten about jobs are from scammers. Seriously. And it's like it makes you start to question yourself as an artist, gives you that serious like what's the call it? The imposter syndrome, and it's like, I think I'm an okay artist, I'm pretty good at what I've done. And then apparently it also like, because me as a 42-year-old man, I'm like, oh no, like, because they're asking my age, they're asking, and then I don't want to say I've got 20 years experience in video production and everything, and it's like, oh no, this guy's way too senior, he's not going to take the low budgets. And I'm like, no, just give me the low budgets, I'm fine with that.
Yeah
I don't know.
Well, I think with LinkedIn, I've actually had quite a bit of success on LinkedIn. my strategy has always been to hit up, like you said, recruiters. I
Yeah.
think recruiters are the only way I will get actual any attention to. I mean, granted, and I will say, I haven't said anything, but a little bit on what I've done has been full-time jobs. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I haven't been in the freelance market for about 8 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
hard for me. But full-time jobs, yeah. I mean, I think for anybody who's looking for that, definitely always hitting up recruiters, and their entire job is to get you a job,
Yeah.
and they want the best people to be hitting them up. And
Mhm.
so I feel like I've applied to 100 jobs on LinkedIn, and literally it's depressing because my inbox just gets filled with denial letters. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
depressing. But then I'll hit up like 2 recruiters, and then all of a sudden, they'll set you up with an interview, and it's great. Or, that in itself, with talking to the recruiters, kind of an interview. And
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in, even if you're happy with your job, you should always be applying for new jobs,
Yeah.
because it's a skill in itself to do an interview.
Do you do cover letters? What's your opinion on cover letters?
I mean, I think if it's a job, like the only time I've done actual cover letters, which I know it goes straight into the trash bin, but it's if there, it gives me a half a merit point. Like I do them for jobs, like always looking for a job at Netflix, Google,
Mm-hmm.
or Meta, so those three places. If, I get a friend recommendation, then I'll fill one out with the help of Chat GPT.
Yeah.
But besides that, no, I've got like a standard one. If it's required, I'll like just kind of fill in the
Yeah.
blanks. But no, I hate cover letters so
Yeah.
much.
I do too. I do too.
It's like,
I despise it. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's and typically whenever there's a downturn, it's like the first thing I do is hit up my network,
Mhm.
and it's like there are specific places that I hit up first. Like, first of all, I hit up the Slack and I say, hey, I'm available if anyone knows, I would appreciate some help. And just today got a hit up and it's like, hey, I can't take this. Do you want it? It's like, yes, finally something. Okay, cool. But it's
Mhm.
like, I feel it's this weird feeling of like, hey, I want us to still be friends. But I feel like the only time I talk to you is when I ask for a job or tell you I'm available, And it's like, I don't know, in like a professional setting, it's like, okay, that's okay. Like, I understand, but it's like,
Mhm.
I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be that guy,
Sure, sure. One thing I've
So,
been trying to do an experiment, like, again, I'm not necessarily like looking for a job, but I'm just a big believer again in always applying
yeah.
and putting yourself out there, just to even know what your worth is or what the market's like. But I've been wanting to do, like, I call it like the David Aria reel,
Uh-huh.
and I think what he did was so good, and I want to experiment with it. But it's kind of like a reel, but it's also a biography of yourself
Hmm.
that's 5 to 10 minutes long, and he just talks about his journey in the industry and his accomplishments and what he's done. And it's like his reels broken up while explaining what he's done on these projects. And I think the hardest part of getting an interview is just so you can like see how excited you are, or like
Yeah.
just be like, look, I'm a normal person, right? And
Yeah.
like and I think that would help possibly get to the next round of interviews. So it's something I've been planning on trying to do.
Yeah,
Which I think would be-
that's the thing that I always have problems with. It's like, okay, I feel like my resume speaks pretty well for itself. My demo reel speaks pretty well for itself, but it's like, how do you understand who I am as a person if you've never watched the podcast or been on Discord with me or, hung out with me? It's
Mhm.
like, I'm a pretty fun guy, It's like, so it's like sometimes with those cover letters, I'll kind of be an asshole or like be like super jokey or something like that.
Mhm.
And like yesterday I was filling one out and it's like I like the cover letters or whatever. It's like input the cover letter here, but it's only like 150 characters. It's like, okay, I know there's a higher chance of them actually looking at that, you know?
Yeah.
So I try and be anyway. So I was like, it's like, what does this say about you? And I was like, well, ChatGPT says, because I went into ChatGPT, I said, tell me about Matt Milstead, the motion designer, and I said, this is what ChatGPT says, but it makes me sound boring. I promise you, I'm not boring. I am not boring. And that's what I sent.
I love that.
Now, does that show my personality, or does that just show that I'm completely insane? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I've been a part of the, end that has to go through all the applications, read everything, find them. And yeah, the one thing, again, I feel like why I like David Ario's Real Idea so much is that half the people you call, you realize like are just putting on a front, or
Yeah.
they're like really beginnerish and new,
Yeah.
and they just kind of were front facing something else, or they're not even in New York and they're saying they're in New York. And or like you ask them a little bit about a job experience and turns out they didn't really do anything on the project but put it in their reel. So it's shocking. So that was one thing that I think stood out. But yeah, I think the funny stuff, that anytime I saw a funny one, that was always, I mean, that's me. I'm not saying everyone's like that, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm worried a bit for our industry. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what's happening, but I would like to take this moment for everyone who's freaking out. We're going to take this moment. We're going to do a little Zen. All right. Just a little, namaste. We're just going to do a little bit of Zen, just breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. I created this video right before the thing. And you know what's sad? It's like, these may even just be AI generated, and then it just gives you more stress. But I was like, all right, what's gonna be good? Let's do rivers. Let's do puppies. Puppies always chill me out. All right, and then
I love the puppies.
Just breathe in. Oh yes, nice, relaxing. All right, cool. All right.
Oh, that's a nice shot.
All right, and now we're back.
Feel good. What a series of events to start off. Everyone's getting fired. How do I apply for a job?
So, I've got one more headline, and then we'll get into you, Michael. This is something I'm really excited about for all you LA, California folks. RenderCon, the first Render Foundation convention. They're doing a RenderCon April 15th. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got some amazing speakers. I'll be there with our devs. I'm trying to get a couple of different groups from the LA meetups and LA groups in order to show up as well. It's $99 to go, but if you use the promo code MOGRAPH, you can get a free ticket. And so we're trying to get as many people out as possible. It's going to be a lot of fun, a full day of speakers and technology and render stuff. If you're into, the Render Network or crypto or Octane or even any 3D artist, it would be great to have anyone there. Mark it on your calendars, April 15th. You can go to, oh boy, I should have had the website ready. Hold on. Render Foundation Con. Hold on. It is, where's the RenderCon? Where's the RenderCon? Oh my gosh. Anyway, just Google search RenderCon. RenderCon 2025. Yeah, anyway. Just do a quick Google search for RenderCon. I will have the information next week. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited for it. Use the promo code MOGRAPH for a free ticket and come hang out with us. But yeah, okay, we're back.
Octane. I love Octane, man. I'm an Octane boy.
Yep, I am too. I'm a big fanboy. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to, I'm going to be teasing some of the stuff that we are working on for the website at RenderCon. So come and find me. Also, I have my new business cards.
Ooh.
Yeah. Did you see the business cards that I did?
Eggshell white.
Eggshell white. No. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can pull this up. I posted it onto our YouTube. So it was the live stream that we were doing. this past couple weeks. It's been a lot of fun doing the weekly Thursday night live streams and stuff.
Yeah.
So let's see, content. Oh, you know what? I'll go to my MoGraph page because I posted it there. But so we have been, doing the weekly live streams and stuff, and it's been a lot of fun. Big shout out to all the people who have been showing up for the live streams. Really good stuff. Let me see. Hopefully this doesn't show my entire screen. Video screen. Yeah, it does. Okay. That's all right. Ignore all my stuff. This was the animation that we did during the live stream this past week, but yeah, and the quality is like 360p. Yeah. So we did like a Magic the Gathering like card animation, but you can see this is my new business card.
Wow. Oh, that is sick.
Yeah.
I love that. That's fun.
And so I got it actually printed on like playing cards and stuff like that. So I'm going to be giving them out, but it says tap this artist for badass visuals, because it got the tap logo, and then it's got the little water emblem, and it says feed Monster energy drinks for late night sessions or something like that. I'm pretty sure I had a typo in there, but whatever. I got them printed. It'll be fine.
Love that. No, that's cool. I think if you're gonna have business cards, keeping it creative is the best way. I used to have on my old apartment like a wall that I would just put all my favorite business cards on, and it's great. Like if you can hold on to a business card, right? It's so cool.
If you can get someone to hold on to your business card, that's like like even if you were to do the joking like, oh, that's bone white, American Psycho one. Make it exactly like it. I don't think people would get the joke, but if you do something a bit more artistic, I think that's the way to get it going. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, Michael, let's talk you. Let's talk XR Motion. You got the podcast. You got the monthly meetup, right?
That's right. That is correct.
Let's hear about it. Give me your elevator pitch.
Sure. Yeah. XR Motion. We are like a little New York community, which is great for digital artists. Each month, we have about 40 to 80 people come out. We usually have guest speakers. Everyone who comes, they're more than welcome to send us our reel. And so everybody on the reel projector you see is all from thumbs up.
That's awesome.
Is from there. And we got a guy named Lyle Hintz, Dot Simulate. He's made some pretty insane AI apps. He even made a little feature to where a QR code pops up in the bottom corner. So if you like somebody's reel and you want to have questions about it, you can just take a photo of it and then go to their website right there.
That's super cool.
It's all New York. Yeah, it's all New York artists. It's a lot of fun. We've got everybody from professionals coming in to beginners. We've got Danny who works at SNL. He comes a lot. And we've got, again, like other new blenders. We've got, it's just a lot of fun. It's my favorite time, like each month. It's like my favorite night almost. It's a lot of fun for everybody involved. And we also do monthly challenges where we try and show, like on our Discord, a lot of us will kind of get together each week on Mondays and work on a project together. And then we'll show that at the meetup as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's been super successful.
Yeah, and I was surprised. I knew there was a fair amount of people, motion designers in New York, but I've been there. Surprisingly, I've been there a few times when you guys are holding the meetup, and it's packed. It's pretty packed. It's great.
Yeah, we're also going to be doing one after NAB New York again this year. So if you're there, it'll be huge.
We'll see. We'll see if I can make it. I have a love for New York that cannot be quenched, and any chance I get to go out to New York, I will. Yeah.
It'll be a good one. I think after the NAB crowd, a lot of people fly in for it, so it's always a good time. But yeah, it's also minus that October one, which we're intentionally moving a week before. It's always the last Thursday of each month at Crystal Lake, Brooklyn.
Crystal Lake, Brooklyn.
Any New York listeners.
Yeah. Brooklyn's not that far. You just take the train, take the subway.
Exactly.
Appreciate all the beauty
about New York.
The last time I was there, who was I with? I think I was with Maria and
Hmm.
Sarah and John Haley, right?
Yeah.
And I took the subway down. I wasn't originally gonna. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go because I was pretty tired from working the booth all day for the
Hmm.
Maxon booth, and I was like,
Oh
all right,
yeah.
I'm gonna. I grabbed myself a Mountain Dew. You know, I drank it on the way down, and I felt great. And I will tell you, like that was the moment that I fell in love with New York and New York subway system, because the New York subway system is a work of art. It is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life because it's so
Hmm.
gross and like, years and years of dust and grime and like debris. And it's like the amount of work that I would have to do in order to 3D create this. It's like, chef's kiss. So,
Yeah.
but
And it depends on what station you go to.
right,
It's
that's
always
true.
funny. Some are nice, some are run down.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, the New York subway system's the best, man. It's I hate driving, so
Yeah.
it's perfect place for that.
Yeah, and after the show or after the meetup, they were all like, "Oh, let's go up here, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Okay, cool, let's take the subway." And they're like, "No, we're gonna take an Uber." I'm like, "Why would you take an Uber? That's gonna be like $60 just to get back to where you were when it's like $3 for the subway, Or you just
Yeah.
hop the turnstile. I saw
And then
cops;
it's
they don't
free.
watch you, they don't care."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's a fun system. I just it's my favorite part about New York is the subway system. You're living in Brooklyn,
Hmm.
Manhattan, doesn't matter. Everything's about a 40-minute to 20-minute commute, no
Yeah.
matter where in the city. So, yeah, it's awesome. It's
How
awesome.
did you get the meetups started? Like,
So this is a funny
yeah.
story. And I haven't told many people this story. So, a little bit tea time.
Oh,
I went to what is the motion design conference? I think it's like sometimes it's in Japan, sometimes it's in
the
LA. I think it's in New York this year, maybe.
oh, what is it? It's yeah, motion plus design.
Motion plus design,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So they had it in LA about 4 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I actually heard about it on your guys'
Was
podcast.
that
Funny enough,
was that when was it?
Joyce and Beeple were the
Okay,
speakers.
no, then I wasn't at that one. No.
Okay. Yeah, I would have found you.
Yeah.
That was like I was getting into 3D a lot more, and I guess maybe that was like 6 years ago. Jesus, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was 5 years ago. Yeah, that works out perfectly. And I went there, and I saw Beeple was there, and I was just getting into like Cinema 4D,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing on a Mac. Didn't even have a GPU yet. It was
Nice.
super slow, and I was super excited. And I remember just like seeing Beeple's work, and I was like, "There's no way this guy's making renders every day.
Yeah.
It's all. I got to talk to him." And so I saw his his little speech. It was amazing. And then afterwards, they had like a rooftop bar thing, and Andrew Kramer was also there.
Mm-hmm.
He was like a celebrity. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And I saw Beeple. He wasn't really super viral then. I think he maybe had like 100,000 followers or something like that,
Okay.
a couple hundred. And I went up to him, and I don't even know, I'll say, I had a few drinks.
Yeah.
And he
This is
had a few
pre-pandemic
drinks.
then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
pre-pandemic. This was like 2019, very early, or maybe like the end of 2018.
Yeah.
And I went up to him, and I was like, "Man, there's no way you're just making dailies every day, bro. Like, stop lying." And like, he just thought it was so funny. And I was just like, "Dude, you're so full of shit, bro." And he was like, just like, "What are you talking about, dude? Like, I make them every day." I was like, "Nah, you like make 6 in a day and then just post them every other day, or you like have help."
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Nah, man, I just do it." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, I was like, "Just tell me all of your secrets, man. Just tell me like one of your secrets." He's like, "You just do it." I was like, "I don't believe you." And he's like, "Give me your phone right now." And then he took my phone and was like, "Follow me." And so he made me follow, and then sent like a message from me to him.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, "I'm challenging you to do dailies for 30 days."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay."
You
but
do a
if I
pretty
do
good
it, you
Beeple
have
impression,
to...
by the way.
Wisconsin. My old manager was from
Yeah.
Wisconsin, so I had some practice. Yeah, so then I said, okay, well, I'll do the dailies for 30 days if you tell me all of your secrets, because you're clearly lying. You're
Yeah.
clearly lying. And so I did them for 30 days, and we had a phone call for about an hour. And I realized, like, yeah, just doing it every day gets it. Like, you mentally kind of figure out
Yeah.
and start planning it every day, like in the morning, the afternoon, and just kind of ideas start coming to you. It was really cool
Yeah.
exercise. And so I said, okay, like, what next? He's like, I challenge you to do it for another 2 months. I was like, all right, but we got to have another phone call.
Yeah.
He was like, all right. And so then it went 3 months, and then he challenged me for 3 months. Then it was at the 6 month marker. And then he said, do it for another 6 months, do it for a whole year. And then, and we were having, the phone calls at each milestone. And then at the end of the year, he started blowing up. Like, that was when he
Yeah.
started getting pretty viral. And it was a year in, and I was like, dude, so like, I don't want to take up any of your time. I did a whole year. We had a great conversation about it. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm so new into 3D. I'm an After Effects boy.
Yeah.
Like, getting into 3D, and all I have is my dailies. Like, I don't know how to meet anybody. He's like, you're in New York, man. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, just start a meetup
Yeah.
or something. And he's like, just start a meetup. And I was like, all right. So sure enough, I just there was a bar around the corner from me, and I just kind of made
When you
an
start the
Instagram
meetup, you get to
flyer.
pick the convenient location. Yeah.
Exactly. And so sure enough, I just kind of made a flyer, put a little thing out there, and like 3 people came out. One was Chris Rutledge.
Oh
Funny
yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Tokyo
was like
Megaplex. Love that guy.
yeah, one of the first 3 people to come out, and was like, what's up? I didn't actually know who he was at the time.
Yeah.
And and so that's kind of how it kicked off. And it's been, COVID obviously happened, and we moved it into VR, which was fun.
Ah.
But yeah, then we came back, and we just have been doing it nonstop ever since then. And yeah, it's just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
I am jealous of the monthly meetups. Like I need to do more, and it's inspiring to hear that people want it, because I mean, in New York City there's such a good group of people there, there's so many
Mm-hmm.
good motion designers there. It's like Dallas kind of sucks, and it's like, I guarantee you there's a ton of really great motion designers here. We just don't know anyone. And it's like, you're lucky because New York City is so compact and so many
Yeah.
people. It's like I was telling you earlier, me and Dave, we live an hour from each other, like you literally have to get in your car and drive for an hour to get to the other person's house. So it's like,
Yeah.
doing a meetup, you've got to, you got to drive into the city and find a common place.
Yeah. I think too, for anybody that's
Y'all, I have been trying to convince my wife to move to Denver. Like, Colorado has the lowest property tax, out of almost anyone, so it's very tempting, and, there's they're trying to shut down all the teachers and public education and stuff here. There's that, but yeah, the lower property tax.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
schools
ahead.
replaced all their books with Bible and corn.
Right.
You eat corn,
Corn.
and you read the Bible. That's our schooling system.
my
Yeah, it's
That's
yeah,
funny.
Texas is an interesting place. But yeah, no, I mean, the meetups is great for anybody that's running meetups or interested. Just big advice I always say is, like, and I think this is kind of what helped ours grow so much, is that if you've ever been to one, sometimes you just walk in, and if you have anxiety like I do sometimes, you walk in, you take 5 steps, and you go, what am I doing here? What am I doing
Yeah.
here? Okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Bye. Like, you just turn around, and I think it's like, a lot of times when I'm there, I'm just, even if I'm having a great conversation with someone, especially with seeing all my friends and more friends each meetup, but it's like, I just see that person walk in, and I'm like, I gotta drop this. I gotta go say hey to them. What's up? Give them a hug, welcome
Yeah.
here. Like, yo, what do you do? Oh, I do. I'm a blender. Oh, dude, well, you gotta go talk to Andrew. Andrew's like awesome at Blender. Let me go bring you over, and to him, and kind of help them get involved in the community and the meetup. But last thing I'll say on the meetup is like, it really is cool going to meetups because, I think a lot of us are stuck behind the computer. And like we said before, even with recruiters, and I saw on here before people saying like, LinkedIn's about networking. That's what the meetups are all about is, I think a lot of people get great connections there and make great just friendships. And, there's nothing more magical than hearing people be like, dude, so I was on a project and I needed help. And then I met a guy who actually could help me and we hired him on our project,
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's so cool. Like that's, one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, being able to and networking is super important in our industry, especially for freelancers. Maybe that's my problem in Dallas is like I need to be. That's it. I found it. I figured it out. I figured out how to get work. I'm just gonna start doing meetups again so that people can hire me. But yeah, no, it's really important. Especially like you said, us sitting behind a desk all day. Like we can get on Discord and stuff like that, but it just doesn't have the same oomph, as hanging out and meeting someone in person. My biggest 100%. Issue with meetups is I am an early bird. I am a forced early bird because I have 2 children who have to be off to school by 7 a.m. So I'm up at 6:20 every day. So by like 8 p.m., I'm in bed. I get those kids to sleep. Yeah, that's why you'll see me on Thursdays late on the live streams and stuff like that. I'm down in a monster at like 9 o'clock at night, which is probably the worst idea. But it's like, yeah, I mean, doing the meetups and stuff like that, it's really important. That's why, especially, that was one of the main reasons why the MoGraph site, we saw it really important to add the groups in there, which is if what's awesome, what's really cool, and Michael, I think you'll like this. Like, so we initially started the groups and we just assumed it was going to be just like a bunch of American cities and our friends and stuff like that. But what's so cool, we have added probably like 5 or 6 different European meetup groups. And it is so cool seeing that. It's like you'll see numbers on like your podcast or like, and all of our live streams and like even the podcast on YouTube, the numbers are always really low. They're like maybe 150 views or something like that, which is fine. We don't necessarily do the podcast for the live streams and stuff. We do it as an added bonus for people who want to watch versus want to listen, but it's so cool being able to see like those numbers actually equate to people getting involved and helping and being more active in the industry. So, and it's it's needed right now. It's really, really needed. We got to fight that AI. We got to fight Zuckerberg and, we got to make art. It's very important to make art right now.
It is. So. It is. Yeah. And again, I feel that sometimes, and we were talking about this before the call, but kind of almost how social media is almost feeding you the stuff you don't want.
Yeah.
And I think there's like going to be, especially with AI, and it might, I won't talk an hour on how like I feel like it could end the internet or social media in itself.
Hey, I got a meeting at 2. I'm good till 2. Which, sorry, that's 3 your time. So yeah, we got time. If you want to talk for 2 hours about The Matrix 4, feel free, like I did on your show.
The Matrix again.
Best Matrix movie, by the way. Go on.
Well, I do see like there being like a resurgence in like human to human interaction and just being in more of a community set. So
yeah, I mean, speaking on the AI front and social networking or whatever, it's like there was something so depressing. I was going through Instagram or something like that. I think I might have taken a screenshot of it. But it was it instead of like seeing an actual person or something, it said chat with AI, and it just had a random person's picture on it. And it's like, that's what you're advertising on Instagram? It's like, is that the social activity that you want? Just people speaking to robots, people speaking to GPUs? Like that? No, that's not real. It's fake. It's like, oh man, it's sad. It's super sad, And it's like I said earlier, it's like the whole algorithm. The algorithm ruined everything for social networks, because you get people angry, by feeding them stuff that keeps them engulfed in whatever the conversation is.
Rage bait.
100%.
It really is, and it gets me every time.
See, the thing that annoys me, I'll go through my Facebook, and people are using AI for everything. Dave has mentioned this on the show. It's like, God bless our troops. No one will like this post and blah, blah, blah. We joke about that all the time, but the one that gets me is when they make a fake movie poster using like actual actors' images and stuff. And it's like Back to the Future Part 4. And I was like, no, Robert Zemeckis doesn't want that. And it's like, I know that's fake. Stop making me think and feel feelings, that there's going to be a new Back to the Future, because I'll be angry about it. But it's like all that crap. My whole Facebook feed is filled with that. And it's boring. And it's just give me don't curate the crap. Just give me everything. Just give me everything. And it's okay if it's boring. It's okay if I get to the end of my feed and I've already read that stuff. It means that I can now step away.
Yeah, no, exactly. Now, and I was saying too, like with the algorithm, it's just annoying because, you didn't like a photo of your grandma last week? Okay, well, just never show her again.
Never show you your grandma.
You clearly do not like her.
Right.
It's crazy.
That's the same on like TikTok. Like I'll have very specific creators that like I will watch every single one of their videos. But sometimes it'll come across my feed when like something happens and I'm busy, and I'll just skip past it. It's like, okay, I don't have like the 3 minutes to watch your entire video. I love you as a creator, but the second they see that swipe, it's like, okay, you're not interested in this person anymore. It's like, no, I am. I don't want to have to go to my actual people that I'm following in order to see their stuff or go to their page. I like the For You stuff. I like that you're feeding me stuff that I like, and stuff like that, but I don't know.
No, I'm the same way. It's weird. I guess maybe a little off trail, but I like things just sporadically, just so that content stays in my feed, even if I don't like it sometimes, or just even if I haven't seen someone in a while, I just whatever. My when I heart or like something, it's just, I don't know, I saw it. So.
And see, the thing is, like, I don't know. Maybe it's different for me. I don't know how old you are, Michael. It's like
20.
What?
No, 33.
33. Okay, so maybe this was before your time. Like I was there in the early days of Facebook, like when it finally got released to people who didn't have a .edu, like the early days when you didn't like right when you.
No, I faked an edu.
Yeah.
And then they caught me and banned me.
That's funny. So like it was you had MySpace and you had Facebook and stuff like that, and this was before the curated, it was all just in order, and it was great because if like something came up at like an event or something, is like, hey, I'll be live in 20 minutes. It's like, okay, cool, I know in 20 minutes, versus seeing it 3 days later now. But it's like, that was the fun times in the social networking, and it was early, and you were actually talking to people and reconnecting and stuff. And now it's not fun. The thing that TikTok does, yes, is a curated algorithm. And I do like it because it shows me stuff that I like, but I went into it knowing that it was a curated algorithm and not expecting to see everything in order or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's where, I'm excited for the mograph.com to get popping off. Honestly, that's all I want, is to be able to like see just art, and from my friends and friends' art. And that would be a game changer. Yeah. Shockingly, I don't know how that would be a game changer with all the tech, but it's just not there. We don't have that ability, really.
It's like just going back to the basics, I think they all screwed it up. So anyway, back to XR Motion.
Yeah.
So did you parlay the meetups into the podcast, or did you have the podcast first and then you're like, hey, let's start doing these meetups?
No, I mean, it was actually funny, like I was saying, Chris Rutledge was one of the first people to come in.
Hmm.
And, I actually was just so excited about some of the conversations I was having, especially just getting into 3D for the first time, that
Yeah.
unbelievable, like
You're
everything's
like, I
new and
can finally
shiny.
make a title in 3D. I can make text
Yeah.
3D.
And so that like the podcast kind of started because I was like laughing, and there was other people who were on the same page as me, and I was like, I wish I could just like press record and like save these
Yeah.
conversations. And someone's like a podcast. I was like, oh yeah, I guess like what, maybe that'll be a cool thing to do. So I just kind of was really into 3D and learning, and I think that's still like a big part of like the podcast we run, is very much of like this, like learning new information
Hmm.
and talking in like hypothetical situations about the future, and um, kind of being I'm just always somebody that loves to learn,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the angle I like to always have. But yeah, that was kind of how the podcast got started, was just like I wanted to have talk to more people after the meetup because I didn't know many 3D artists,
Hmm.
and I wanted to have an excuse to keep talking to them. And so that's kind of how it kicked off, and it's been rolling ever since.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and shout out to world's greatest co-host Andrew Hogue. I saw him earlier on the chat. Got to always give him a little shout out.
That's
So
cool. And
yeah.
the thing that I admire about what you are doing, and it's something that I've said, you've probably heard me say it, having listened, it's all about consistency,
Hmm.
doing the meetup every week or every month,
Yeah.
that consistent, you're going to keep bringing people, doing the podcast, the consistency stuff, Dave and
Hmm.
I were doing it for
What episode number is this?
429.
It's unreal.
So yeah,
Unbelievable.
and it's great because, and this is something you and I were talking about. It's like, it's
Hmm.
fantastic through being able to make the connections and stuff like that, doing either a podcast or creating, a meetup or something, and being able to meet all the people that were inspired by or something like that, and like being able to actually sit back and talk to them and pick their brains are fantastic. And,
Hmm.
because of that, especially because of our podcast, we were able to make amazing connections with Otoy, and now Otoy's helping us build this amazing website and do all this other stuff. We met Maxon through this, and, much love for Paul and Matthias, who introduced us to everyone else. And we met, all of our connections,
Hmm.
have been because of, the podcast and, the community and stuff like that. And so it's really important.
Yeah, no, community is the best. Like I can't tell you how many times I've tried to Google things that I couldn't figure out on Cinema
Right?
4D, and I just like jumped on a forum or hit up a friend from somebody I met at the
Mm-hmm.
meetups or on your guys, Slack channel, and somebody was like, "Yo, this is how you do it." I'm like, "Thank God."
Yeah.
Like, and and yeah, even still to this day, like I just want to give a shout out to you guys for Camp Mograph.
Camp Mograph.
Love Camp Mograph
Yeah.
so much. I mean, so many of the people that I'm still great friends with today, I met at Camp Mograph, and people I've just admire their work from and got to actually talk one-on-ones with that I just never thought I would be able to. It's great. I
Yeah.
love
It's,
community. I
it's,
think that's my favorite part about our industry. Like I almost love it more than doing the actual work, is just
yeah.
how awesome everybody is in our industry.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to be able to hang around like-minded people and make really terrible, like very niche jokes that everyone in your group will understand. It's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
fantastic. I would have to go 3 levels deep to explain that to my wife," or something like that.
Joke will not be funny
Yep.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As speaking of Camp Mograph, for those who are unaware, there was a email sent out, an announcement. For those who don't know, I stepped back from my involvement with camp back in September. I was burned out on camp. I still love camp, but I was burned out after doing, Australia and the U.S. and like it was just between that and, kind of trying to find a job and doing all this other stuff, it was a lot of weight on my shoulders, so I decided to step back. And then there were some changes, and I think Mark was feeling it as well. And so he decided to step back as a director as well. And so a lot of love for Mark and because it's kind of his baby. So Dave and Julie, the other directors, have now taken over full time as camp, and camp it will be happening this year. Actually, for those who are unaware, check your emails. There may be a hidden message in it of the actual location. So just a little tea.
Little tea time. Tea time.
I love that. I'm going to use it all the time. So, make sure and check that out. So, what are you going to do now, Michael? What are you going to do? Like, what's next on the agenda? All right. So you've created your meetups, you've created your podcast. Oh, yeah. Now, if you're following my direction, you're going to start your own website and so where are we going from here?
Yeah. The social media stuff, that I don't know if we'll be able to get that far. But yeah, we're definitely planning to do a conference in October 25th, which is exciting.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're looking at venues right now, which is exciting. And as well, that'll line up right after NAB New York.
Nice.
So NAB New York is going to be on the 23rd. We're going to have an awesome meetup right after that event. And then so anybody who's flying in for NAB New York or wants
stick around
to
for a couple days.
Stick around for the weekend. It's also Halloween weekend. They usually celebrate in New York that weekend before. So
okay.
Might even have it's going to be a blast of a time. But yeah, October 25th. And yeah, right now we're
nice.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, we've been talking to we got a list of venues and stuff, and we've got some potential speakers.
Cool.
Don't want to announce anything yet. But yeah, it's a growing thing. We're taking advice from anybody. And as always, we're going to really make sure we're implementing in the community. We think we'll probably have like a projector or maybe some displays people can put out locally. And yeah, make sure we're keeping the heart and soul of what we're doing involved in the conference. So
okay.
Really excited about that. I think that's the next big step that we're doing, which is great.
Okay.
And we're
that's
amped
cool,
about
man.
that.
That's cool.
Lot of work.
It's so much work.
I don't know how you guys
people don't realize just the meetups alone are a lot of work, but then you go in and you do an event. It's so funny because like, I tell Dave all the time, I was like, I didn't get into this industry to be an event planner, but apparently that's that's kind of what we've turned into. It's like, if you're wanting to build a community, you got to build events and stuff like that. And it's great that you're doing that. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You may regret it come October, but
yeah. Well, thankfully we got a little team helping us. Just want to give a shout out to Patrice, little director producer we got helping out. Tamar, she's killing it with our LinkedIn and monthly emails.
That's
and
great.
Sean with the hype, the energy, with the contacts. And Mustafa, he's been doing the monthly challenges. So
that's great.
And then obviously Andrew. So yeah. Just want to give them all a shout out. But yeah, so hopefully, again, we're seeing what we can do, what we can pull off for it. But it's could be small or it could be big. But
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, all we're amped about it.
October 25th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
think I can make it out there for that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just come out just for that.
Hey, it won't. You'll be worth it.
Tell you what,
we're trying.
Okay. Tell you what. If I come out, do you have anything planned the night before?
We will.
Okay.
If you're coming out.
Well, I was gonna say, if you don't have anything coming, if you don't have anything planned the night before, maybe MoGraph will throw like a karaoke party. Right?
People who don't know, MoGraph karaoke parties are the best parties.
Yeah.
They are
Speaking
so
of,
fun.
we set up the we've got an event in the MoGraph group on the MoGraph page. If you go to mograph.com/groups/MoGraph, you can get to our events and you'll see the NAB karaoke party. There you can pick up tickets and stuff. So make sure to do that. But yeah,
That's the
okay.
one for Vegas.
That's the one for Vegas.
Yeah.
So if we do one for New York, we'll see about that. I'll have to see if I can get EJ,
That'll
involved
be
as well. Yeah.
legendary.
So that
That'll
would
be
be cool.
awesome. Yeah, and a little bit too about the conference. We're hoping to have some like VR and AR experiences as well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some projection displays and things of that nature. So,
Very cool.
you know,
So
yeah.
it's the main focus because the XR has always thrown
Mhm.
me off.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, is it only for AR people? Is it only for VR people? Is it like the XR? Like,
Sure.
you know?
When we named it XR, I mean, it still is pretty an encompassing term of like digital art as a whole.
Okay.
And, we used to be called Future Motion, but then turns out that, One Wheels,
Yeah.
that's their umbrella term. That's their umbrella company is
Oh,
Future Motion. So we
weird.
had to switch.
Okay.
And so, XR is, yeah, we just love talking again, like I said before, a lot about the future and things of that nature. And so XR is kind of just an all encompassing of digital art, VR, AR, 3D is kind of where we're going. And I do strongly believe that in the next 5 years that glass displays or any type of augmented reality, whether it's the looking glass holograms right behind me,
Hmm.
it's not on right now.
I was gonna say it just looks
Or,
like a big window.
yeah, or
Oh no, that's your
the
actual
little
window.
black
Okay,
square.
you're
Yeah,
talking about those.
that actually is very observant, Matt. And yeah, so I do see like VR and AR is kind of being a big part in the future. Like I was just at CES recently, and the glasses, and it's funny, they done a poll like who's excited about AR. Well, people who don't wear glasses are like, people who wear glasses are like, yeah, give me
Yeah.
the Iron Man features.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what? I'm wearing glasses already.
Yeah.
But it was insane. It was like, it literally had text. It looked exactly like regular glasses. You couldn't tell.
Hmm.
And except it had text there. And so as people were speaking different languages, it was translating it in real time.
That's super
And
cool.
yeah, it had like a HUD display, and they're saying how there was even like a BS feature if you wanted to activate, where if somebody was like, "Oh yeah, like America was established in 1948," it's like, no, it's 7076. Like it could like auto correct that. Which
Excuse me. According to my glasses.
actually, yeah. So but you could see that I'm a big advocate. I like reading a lot, like even
Me too.
when it's
What are you reading
chat.
right now?
Well, I'm probably Atomic Habits for like the 5th time.
What is it?
Atomic Habits.
Atomic
It's
Habits. Okay.
a great
Oh,
book.
you're reading like, helpful books and sorry.
Yeah,
I
the
read
psychology
fantasy.
of-
I like to
Yeah.
escape from reality. That's why I read books.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I'm a big self-help book reader. I'm reading there's like a Think Media YouTube book I won, which
Okay.
is interesting. I'm reading right now. I read a lot of finance books. I couldn't tell you the names of them now.
That does
'cause I
not
just
sound fun.
it is interesting. For me, it's like a hypothetical, like if I am successful, this
Yeah.
is what I need to do. Because I do, especially like with my phone, like or playing games, like I do realize like it's like what is the subconscious reason that I not only just playing it, but like what was the initial cue that in my environment that like made me do that, or
Yeah.
like, and so it's very much about a domino effect of like what's the starting point of good habits and most importantly like bad habits that you can avoid in your life to help yourself. And so like deleting Instagram off my phone was a massive help. Like I realized how like it's so subconscious just to like
Yeah.
click that button, and I put it on my iPad, and it's funny just like that extra step of
Having to go get your iPad.
force, yeah,
Yeah.
of forgetting the word, but like, yeah, of having to do that, it literally, oh wow, like it's not a subconscious thought anymore.
Yeah.
It's more of like an actual having to put effort into it, and that is, I think it dropped my time down from, this is embarrassing, like almost 2 to 3 hours sometimes a day on Instagram.
Jeez.
I take the train in
Oh,
to
yeah, yeah,
work,
yeah. That makes
so
sense.
it's
Are you watching a lot of reels though too?
yeah,
Yeah, because
exactly.
my
And like
TikTok is probably about the same. Yeah.
I like message to a lot of my friends. Like I have long conversations,
Hmm.
but it went down to about 5 to 10 minutes, which is
Wow.
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. Which I've like been ZBrushing a lot more on my iPad.
Hmm.
I've been doing a lot more journaling. So again, it's a good book. I highly recommend it
All right.
for people.
Maybe. Maybe.
What book were you reading? Fantasy book?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just finished Cemetery Boys
Mm.
for the Camp Mograph Book Club. That was our book of this month. It was fantastic. I
Ooh.
loved it. Very excited. Our book meetup is tomorrow, which if you're a Camp Mograph, if you've been to Camp Mograph and you would like to join our book club, it meets once a month. There you go.
Yeah. I
So
got all three.
I finished Cemetery Boys. That one was great. I'm currently reading The Fellowship of the Ring because I wanted to like so I started reading last year. I
Mm.
hadn't I was spending a bunch of time on my on TikTok and stuff like that since 2020. It's like since TikTok kind of
Wow.
showed up and like we didn't have anything to do, we were in lockdown. I found that TikTok was fantastic. It was a great, time burner. And my wife's a librarian, she reads a lot. And she read this series called Throne of Glass. It's Sarah J. Maas. She also did, the A Court of Rose and Thorns series and stuff like that. And my wife was like, "You should read this. You should read this. You should read this." And so I was on TikTok one time, and they said, "Oh, so if you're reading the series, these two books happen at the same time, so you can actually
Mm.
read them at the same time and skip from chapter to chapter." I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna do that." So I read 5 books just so I could have the fun of reading 2 books at the same time.
Wow.
And because of that, like I kind of got into the habit of reading every day and like reading for fun. And then I really got into fantasy and stuff like that. And
Mm.
after I was done with that series, it was 8 books long. It probably took me 3-4 months to do. I got into the habit of doing that, and I was like, I'm going to read Lord of the Rings. And I started reading Lord of the Rings, and it was like the first, I don't know if you've read the Lord of the Rings, but
I've tried
yeah, exactly.
multiple
Like
times.
it's like you have to get past, and I didn't realize this until I started like actually like listening to it. It's like you have to get past all the history about hobbits first before the story really begins, And so
Sure.
it's like J.R.R. Tolkien did this whole like introduction about hobbits. And it's like, okay, so once I got past that, it's like the story really started, and the things that bugged me about the movie are so much better in the book. And like I'm
Mm.
finding that I am falling in love with the Lord of the Rings, the actual written book. It's fantastic.
Wow.
And I understand the hype now.
Yeah, I
But
maybe should try it again. I just haven't like I was like maybe 12 and I'm
yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna play PlayStation
Yeah.
instead.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
but
but
no, it's funny. The 2 books idea is cool. Like I love that they
yeah.
happen. You'd look really cool on a subway train if you
Right.
had 2 books
Well,
up and you're like,
so
yes.
I read everything, all my books. I read an 8-book series on my phone. Like
Wow.
I don't typically if I want a book, what I will do is this is probably bad to say. I will buy the actual like paperback copy because it's cheaper, and then I'll
Mhm.
illegally download the the actual like
That's
digital version of
fine.
it.
Yeah,
You
you did
know,
your part,
I did my part.
Yeah.
But like then I'm on Libby and Sora and stuff like that, and
Mm.
so I can download the digital versions of it. But I always have an audiobook going that I can listen to while I'm working, and then I always have like a physical on my phone that
Yeah.
I'm reading at night, to where I'll only allow myself maybe 15-20 minutes or more of TikTok,
Yeah.
depending on how I'm feeling and what part of the chapter. Like if I'm in a really boring chapter, I'm not gonna want to flip back to, you know. But
Mhm.
yeah, I got really big into fantasy, so I've been reading fantasy books, and I just I don't love self-help because I feel I don't know.
I hate that word though.
It
Like
is,
I'm
yeah,
like I
yeah,
need
yeah.
help.
It
Like
it
I'm like it's not. It should be called like life advancing.
Yeah, but
techniques
it's
or
like
something.
it's also one of those things. It's like where you're kind of in the industry, or like you do enough of these podcasts and stuff like that, where it's like you're. I feel like a phony sometimes when I'm giving all this advice,
No,
and it's
sure,
like,
yeah.
what do I know?
Hmm.
It's like I'm totally full of shit while I'm telling people what to do. It's like how much do these people actually know? Did they just decide, "Oh,
Right.
I want to be an entertainer, I want to be an influencer, so I'm going to write a book, a self-help book."
Sure.
Maybe it's total bullshit.
Right.
Maybe it's actually true. Maybe it's based around fact or something. It's like, and so it's like all this self-help stuff, it's like, okay, it's just all about rewiring your brain in order to think a different way, you
Yeah.
know? And it's like,
Well,
maybe that's not what I want. What I want is I want to get out of reality and not think
mhm,
about all the shit that's going on in the world right now. And I would like to
sure.
live someone else's problems. you know?
Hey, well, I mean, that might be one of the things that they even talk about in the self-help book. That
Yeah.
was funny because I know you've mentioned you wanted to get into reading,
Mm-hmm.
and so by doing that, you're reading stuff that you like, and they talk about that too. Like if, like, make your habits enjoyable. Like make something that you maybe are struggling with as enjoyable as possible.
Yeah.
And they just talk about a lot of those things, and like naturally, you will become after doing it so long, it'll become your identity as somebody who reads.
Yeah.
And from that, you'll start to just naturally be maybe reading self-help books, Matt,
We'll
or
see.
other types of books like finance books, Matt.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, I don't know. I would can't recommend Atomic Habits enough. It really gets you thinking about what you're doing. And you're right. It is a complete brain
Uh-huh.
rewiring thing, but it's helped me a lot with just my day to days. Like even in the morning now, I instead of doing anything that's entertainment wise, I try and start off on a positive note. Like I go through my tasks, I look at my tasks that I have every single day,
Mm-hmm.
and then I start off usually by listening to an audiobook just to start my day off.
Yeah.
And just those few things, it's like I feel like I start off my day goal oriented, and I'm learning, and I have myself into like a learning mindset, and it's been helpful.
Yeah, see, you have a bit more of a probably you probably have a bit more of a relaxed morning than I do. I get up
I
at
don't know.
6:20 and then argue with children for 40 minutes to get them off to school. The
Fair enough.
first 15, 20 minutes of my day
Yeah.
is trying to just, get them up. But
No, no. I mean, I've got a kid too, believe it or not.
okay, okay, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I mean, he's a precious little baby angel,
Well, yeah.
so he's still.
That's
No,
funny.
it is rough. It is rough,
Yeah.
but I get that, like the train commute. I'm in
Yeah.
a train for an hour every morning,
Yeah.
so that's kind of where I do most of my day to day
Yeah,
podcasts
that's
and stuff.
nice.
So,
That's
hmm
nice. But yeah, I will once I get the kids off to like they're out the door at 7. I try
oh
and be
wow,
at my desk between 8 and 9. So, but I'll lay in my bed, and I always make sure I do my Duolingo in the morning,
hmm
because it's the same thing with, and you've probably heard this before, like I read every day and I do my Duolingo. And I started those things on the exact same day, and I'm
mm,
at like 412 days now,
wow,
and it's like, it
Jesus.
feels great to know that I've read every day. I've at least made myself a little bit smarter than I was 412 days ago,
Yeah.
so.
Well, here's another little habit. Just talking about consistency, but I like was feeling burnout recently on
Mhm.
doing 3D and animation. And one thing, funny enough, playing Call of Duty with Dave and everybody, I
Uh-huh.
realized, like, they call it like habit stacking, where
Hmm.
you take something that you are doing every day and you maybe combine it with something that you're not really enjoying to kind of get yourself attached to that with your actual positive habit. And so
Okay.
I love playing Call of Duty, but I was playing it on the PlayStation, and I notice when I'm in burnt out, I don't want to go near my computer.
Yeah.
But I love playing Call of Duty. So I deleted it off my PlayStation, put it on my computer. And now all of a sudden, I'm just subconsciously opening Cinema 4D and
Yeah.
I'm getting into Call of Duty. And now I'm back on the computer again. And it kind of kick-started off this entire fun getting back into cinema
Yeah.
every day. And yeah, I'm loving it. I'm doing the Punisher challenge right now,
Are
which
you?
is
Yeah.
yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, I think it's gonna suck right now. But I'm trying. I actually started off with AI, and I'm trying to see how good my 1-to-1 is with AI. Like I'm realizing now I do have to do some like of my own interpretation from a rep because AI is. Once you really start looking at it, you're like, oh, this isn't correct at all.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things wrong here.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to do that in my own version, but it's a nice challenge. I haven't like actually done that before.
Yeah.
Try and recreate an AI image into 3D. So
I like the idea of associating like the things that you like with the things that you may not necessarily like. It's like I've been losing weight, you know, like not no. I'm cheating. I'm on the shot, dude. Like
hey, I'm starting that soon myself.
It's
so.
It's fantastic. It's great, you know, like, but you know, I know I have limited funds right now because I don't have work. And so it's like, well, I'm not going to be able to afford, you know, it's like you got to have play money in order to buy it because, you know, it's like $100 a month and it's like that's not a necessity that I need. But it's like I don't want to gain that weight back. I need to start working out, but I've been so lazy about wanting to work out, you know, but it's like, okay, you're talking about this and it's like, well, I love listening to audiobooks. Maybe if I associate that with working out and stuff like that, it'll rewire my brain a bit. Damn self-help books.
I'm telling you, and when you read it, you're going to keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
They're great. Now, I used to call them gym shows,
Gym
and I would...
Yeah,
I would only watch Silicon Valley. That was the main one that was my last one at least.
Yeah.
When I'm at the gym, and so then when I'm on the elliptical, and then all of a sudden the episode ends, and I'm like, I need to watch the next episode, but I'm so tired. Okay, 10 more minutes.
Yeah, right.
You know? And then so it's a good strategy.
Yeah,
it's been working for me a lot.
I like that,
especially again with burnout. It helps.
Yeah, maybe I should. That's what I need. I need a specific book that I'm listening to only allowing myself to listen to it while I'm working out.
There we go. It works.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And like you don't want to stop working out.
Yeah.
Because it's like so good.
Yeah. All right. You sold me. I'm in. Maybe I'll download Atomic Habits. Yeah. So
I love that.
All right. Cool. Michael, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's great to have you on. Where can people find you? Where can people find the podcast and everything?
Yeah, so xrmotion.com. You can find us on xrmotion pretty much on all social medias. And yeah, as well, my personal website is Michael Steinberg Media. So that's kind of my website. And it's pretty corporate-y, but has some 3D stuff.
That's all right.
I work full-time. Been in financial 3D animation for about 6 years. So.
Okay.
The fun stuff.
Financial
You need a chart.
3D.
Oh, yeah. If anybody needs a chart to go up and down, I am your guy.
All right. Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Thanks to everyone for joining. Make sure to follow us on all the socials, especially YouTube and Twitch. We started our weekly MoGraph Hangouts a couple weeks ago, and it's been a lot of fun. Been playing around. Y'all can see me make a jackass of myself, going back to Silverwing tutorials and being like, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, we did that animation last week. I'm thinking this week we're either going to do, like, because I was playing around with the idea of holographic textures and stuff, and I was asking on the Slack, and no one seems to know the correct workaround for doing holographic textures. So maybe we'll just do an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of live streaming holographic textures and trying to figure it out. So we'll see about that. I've got some ideas. But yeah, those are Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And we've got a ton of fun guests coming up on the show in the coming weeks. We got PJ Richardson next week. We've got Kyle Kruger coming up. I know Ryan Summers just signed up. We've got Nick Denbauer Smearballs as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, if you haven't done it already, make sure to sign up for your very own MoGraph.com account. It's a one-stop shop for everything motion design a motion designer needs. You can showcase your demo reel, projects you've worked on, post jobs, and apply for jobs, sell your digital goods, find meetup groups, or start one of your own, and so much more is planned. We currently have over 625 members and are growing every day. We're an artist-first site where your work will always be yours and will never be fed to the AI machine. And it's in chronological order. No algorithms. Not yet. I don't think there will be algorithms. If there's going to be algorithms that show you a specific feed, you are going to, that will be a specific area that you go to. You know, we've talked about doing like a curated, like, this is like just like a whole feed of people's demo reels or something like that, which I think would be a lot of fun. So that would be a more curated thing. But for your activity feed, no, it's always going to be chronological. So stop feeding Zuck's AI machine and start posting on MoGraph.com. Thanks again, everyone, for coming to the show. Thank you, Michael, for being on the show. I appreciate it so much.
Absolutely, man. It's been a pleasure. And check off the bucket list and dream come true list. So,
but looking forward to the event in October. I'm gonna try and make it. Maybe I'll bring the family. We'll make a weekend of it, and then we'll hang out. So I can write it off, right?
It's a write.
It's a write off. Awesome. All right. Thanks everyone for hanging out. We'll see you next week. I'm Matt. Until then, I'm Matt.
I'm Mike.
Later, yo.
It's pretty good, I guess.